Hello and welcome to White Noise. This is the first actual video podcast that we've got going right now. We've never done this before. We thought we'd do something different. I've got two fellow guests with me right now. I've got Mark Butter, who's up in Nottingham. Mark,
Hi guys.
Oh, he jumped in before I even got there. And we've also got Kelly Timms.
Hi.
We also have another member called Neil who can't join us tonight because he's actually on holiday, so enjoy the break while you can, and I'll nick off you for the second episode if we get around to doing it. Okay, right, the actual subjects that we went through was we actually try and get out to events, go and meet people. Tonight's guest is actually Phil Whyman. A lot of people do remember him from Most Haunted Days from the early series, and also we've made contact with Morton from DDF Ghost Hunting, who's across the pond. That's what I mean by doing something new. The whole idea of the actual program is paranormal unity rather than paranormal bitching. There is a lot out there right now where people just basically they just try and knock each other out to try and achieve the same goal. In the show, what we'll do is we'll go straight to an event with Phil Whyman. Luckily, we had a chance to speak to him, and it was very kind of him. So I'll just hit the buttons, we'll watch the program now, and we'll come back and have a quick chat about it. Different people. But the question is, what I'd like to sort of ask you is, technology with the paranormal world has come on in heaps and bounds. It's like, as I've just seen tonight, there's so many different hybrid sort of machineries, like that you buy them all separate, they're now all in one. But because of technology jumping at such a big leap, are we forgetting about the past and how we used to do it in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, we use quite a bit of equipment on the events and such because it gives everybody the opportunity to use it because they've seen it on TV programs and think, yeah, that's going to be great to use. But if it goes back to doing kind of private investigations, where I used to do quite a few, I prefer to use the basics rather than a lot of technology, because you tend to get lost in it. You tend to concentrate more on the technology rather than what's actually happening around you. So I would tend to leave that out and just do the basic stuff. Like, I mean, I love doing investigations with just like a camera, perhaps a video camera, an audio recorder, trigger objects, just that kind of basic stuff. Notepad, pen.
I saw the trigger object tonight, and it's like that takes it back to the past when you used to do it quite a lot. But it's how can I put it? It's probably the most practical, especially if it is locked down and completely sanitized area sort of thing. What do you think would be the next phase within technology right now? What do you think could be actually brought in to help debunk? Because as you know yourself, you've got a camera there, but you've always got blind spots that are never covered. What would you say if like someone develops those new 3D those 360 cameras in full night vision? Would that help?
So we've got somebody on tonight's event who's got a 360 camera.
I've spoken to you. It's only an 8 megapixel.
Right.
But it's just a clear lens, so everything's got to be in normal light.
Yeah, I mean, if it's night vision, then that would be a handy gadget to have, especially if you could stick it in an area and lock the doors and just let it film.
Because then if you did it like live stream sort of thing, you could actually allow people to do it as themselves, and it just down to one person's answer, it's down to multiple person's answers.
It'd not be too long before stuff like virtual reality is brought into the things that we use nowadays, and that'll be interesting. I don't know quite how they'll do it, but I'm sure you'd be.
But the thing is, it's just like, you know yourself, when it goes out over social media and people start hearing to it, they're on it straight away.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's brilliant because we've started using Periscope fairly relatively new to
I was
to
going
our
to
events.
say, Sarah's been using it tonight.
Yeah, she's
been in it a couple of times.
But we love it, and people we enjoy doing it, and people enjoy watching it. and it's great that we can bring those people at home into the actual investigation. So
it's almost like interactive TV.
And it's brilliant. Yeah, it's brilliant.
And it's free.
Yeah, it's free. Yeah,
but no, that's brilliant. Thank you very much once again for coming out. Your team is as professional as ever.
Thank you very much.
And take care of yourself.
Yeah, you
Have
too.
a safe drive home.
I'll speak to you again.
Well, exciting interview there with Phil Whyman. Let's go over to the other two and find out what you actually thought about what his responses were. I thought they were quite interesting, something different.
Definitely. Like you said, he prefers private investigations. He prefers going back to the basics with the video camera, the audio, and the trigger objects. And you kind of ask yourself, why are we then getting cluttered up with all this technology when actually, at the end of the day, we prefer the basics. Most of us prefer going back to the basics. Or when we've had to play around with all this technology, we're just like, right, okay, let's go back to the basic, let's start again. And it's like the new technology isn't really proving anything, or is it that the basics always work?
I was going to say, Mark, we said something offline, didn't we, about the trigger objects?
Yeah.
Because what were you saying about it?
I just prefer the old school method, like, for instance, maybe like a wooden cross or a metal cross on a bit of paper, obviously with it traced around. One camera looking onto it at all times with the room locked down. I don't think it can beat that sort of basicness, especially with the way that media can be manipulated now, and as everybody knows, there's so many special effects you can do with these cameras, and I think it just throws out more doubt than anything else.
I was going to say, because he also threw something into the mix, which was the 360 cameras now, because it actually gives you more security with your trigger objects as well, because you can just leave it and it's got a full scan going live all the way around the room, so you can see anything unless they're hiding under the bed. There's always blank spots.
I must admit, I am a fan of those cameras. I think they're brilliant. And you know, I've experienced loads of those, and you can't explain it. I think they're a must on Infest. I really do.
I was going to say, because it's like it started talking about virtual reality, and it's like how it's like I mentioned how everything is becoming interactive now, because they can broadcast live like we are now, and people can actually comment as it's going along, which I thought is quite handy actually, because it means that you can be there without being there. And what we'll do is we'll just quickly cycle through a couple of things. And Kelly, let's find out a little bit more about yourself. Would you like to introduce everybody to the world, because we are broadcasting to the world?
Yeah, of course. I got into paranormal in 2008. Basically, I lived in a cottage which dates back to the 1800s, and I have experienced a lot of activity. When my relationship broke up, the house became so active. I had the cottage doors open in the middle of the night. I'd have footsteps run up and down the stairs in the main bedroom. And I didn't know what was going on back then. I had no idea. I've never heard of investigating paranormal investigations, nothing, not seeing anything on TV. And a good friend of mine basically said to me, why don't you come along, and even if you don't believe in it, you get to see some beautiful buildings. And from that moment, I was absolutely hooked. And a medium explained to me what was going on, and so I could better understand it for myself. And I think I saw my first 2 full-blown spirits at Woodchester Mansion not too long after I'd started. And from then I went to a spiritualist church, because for me well, like anybody, it was scary. I went to the spiritualist church, and I basically said to them, I never ever want to see anything again. Can you stop it from happening? And they basically told me, no, you've got to go with it. just go with it or it will get worse. And so I embraced it instead of trying to run away from it and close it off. And I haven't looked back since. I've been a part of a couple of teams, and I enjoy helping other teams out.
I'm going to say you're freelance now, aren't you?
Yeah, I just go with the flow now, and I'm there to help people if they want help. So there was nobody that was willing to help me for free. When I was having troubles with my house, people wanted money for them to come in and help me. And I've always basically said, if anybody needed help, I'd do it for free. I'd never want anybody to suffer and be scared in their own home like I was.
I was going to say, it's like, especially when you're on your own as well, it must be quite disturbing to sort of see all these things going on, not being able to explain it.
Well, that's it. You think, oh, am I going mad? Am I actually experienced this? And I basically brought friends round, and a friend of mine basically stopped overnight, and he said, Kelly, I have no idea how you live here. And I said, what went on? And he said, I'm not sure whether you want to know. And I said, no, tell me. And he basically said, I've heard somebody walking up and down your stairs all night. There's running backwards and forwards in your main bedroom. And he said, I really don't know how you deal with it. And I said, well, I've got to live here. I can't just sell the house. It was the market had crashed. I couldn't do anything. So yeah, it was hard. It was very hard.
I'm going to say, what about yourself, Mark? Have you got any questions for Kelly? Because with us following the actual spiritual side, right, but also having the inquisitive side of the tech side as well.
Well, as you know, I've not actually been on a physical investigation.
No, we're still trying to get him on one. We're trying to get him away.
Oh.
I've experienced stuff in the past. When I was younger, we did the Ouija board, and or as they call it now, the spirit board. Experienced something on there. And yeah, I'd be really interested in going along. So,
I'm going to say, it's just like, if you went, I'm going to say, like, if you went on one of these, what do you think you'd expect? A lot of people expect things when they go on these sort of hunts. They don't sort of go there to sort of think, well, if not happens, not happens. They actually go to expect the world and the house flipping around and someone's head going shooting across a room. What? It's like,
I wouldn't expect anything as such. You go with an open mind, but I think if you go with too much expectation, you're going to end up disappointed anyway. And then that's just going to make me think, right, oh, it's a load of old
cobbles,
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's quite good to sort of hear from different aspects.
Future, we shall see me on the other side of the camera for once instead of through live stream.
Yeah, I'll go say we'll be actually. I won't put him in 3D. Believe me, I won't do that yet. It's bad enough you've got to put up with my face all the time. But what we'll do is Kelly, back to your good self again. We had a good conversation with Morton from DDF, didn't we?
We did, yeah. What an interesting guy and what an interesting group.
I was going to say, so what we'll do is, before we go we won't sort of give anything away. I'll link it over so they can actually watch the conversation. At the time, Kelly didn't have a webcam. It's on because we've got one to a distance, so I could do this bit. So you got to bear with us that she'll appears like a little blue circle with a person in the middle of it. But if you're listening closely, it is very interesting. As you can tell, the conversation got on quite a while. Okay, we'll see you in about 15 minutes. Right, welcome, and you're actually joining us right now. Kelly Timms is joining me for this interview, and we're actually interviewing Morton from DDF Ghost Hunting. Would you like to introduce yourself to everybody and tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm Morton from DDF Ghost Hunting. I actually haven't been investigating that long. I've only been doing it for about 10 months or so, but I think I've gotten some really good stuff in that amount of time.
So you're quite new to the paranormal side then?
New to investigating, but I've always had a obsession with it.
Okay, and also because a lot of people don't actually believe that we're actually broadcasting across the channel, would you like to tell everybody where you are now?
I am in Berlin, Germany.
If anyone else understands that, that's foreign to us, being in England. Right, what we'll do is we'll get straight into the first question, we'll get your opinion, and what we'll do is we'll probably just drop in the conversation, a few little questions, like from me or even Kelly herself. Okay, first question on it. As I've seen in the past, you actually do a lot of modifications on some of the equipment, what you do, what you use.
I've done some. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically what I'm going to ask you now is, how do you feel like where technology is advancing at such a high rate, do you really think that we're actually going to forget about how it all started?
Honestly, I think we kind of already have forgotten where it all started. But I don't think it's going to change much. The only thing I think is going to change is instead of carrying 500 pieces of equipment with us and carrying suitcases with us, I think more companies are going to try and put it into one device. You got your EMF, your digital recorder, anything you can imagine, all in one device. In fact, there was that company recently who tried it, but I think more companies are going to try that.
Right, well I've actually seen a prototype. I went onto the Phil Whyman's Ghost Hunting just a couple of weeks ago, and from the previous interview I had with Phil already, I was actually introduced to something called a Ghost Arc, which is a new prototype, and it actually mixes 7 different devices into one box.
That is the exact piece I was already talking about.
Okay. So I've seen it firsthand now, and it shocked me. I've actually got a bit of video footage what I'll stick on the video what we'll do for this episode. Kelly, what's your thought on that then?
I think, well, I do. I think we're missing the basics. We're turning to technology maybe too much because what's wrong with our own senses? What's wrong with trusting what we're feeling, what we're seeing, what we're smelling? We're turning to technology to prove something that, you know, we could sense ourselves, and we're doubting what we're picking up, but we're trusting technology.
Yeah, I understand that. It's because also from a lot of people don't know, Kelly, you're like for a bit more to do this spiritual side as well as the technical side, don't you?
Yeah, that's it. I class myself as a psychic. I can pick things up. I can't hear things, but I can pick things up.
Okay.
So I wouldn't class myself as a medium. But at the same time, I get excited with technology. You know, I don't frown upon technology. It's exciting to prove it to somebody that doesn't see or doesn't get anything at all. And yeah, I think technology is good, but I think we're just losing our own senses.
Also, one thing is, like, I'll just ask you a quick little question. I'll answer it myself. On your first investigation that you've ever done, what was the first piece of equipment you actually used?
Me or her?
Well, I'll go with you, Martin.
Okay. First investigation. I will have to say it was the K2 meter, full spectrum camera, and my night vision camera. I think those were the only pieces of equipment I had.
Is that the ones that you altered yourself?
Yeah, the full spectrum I did. The K2 I didn't need to do any modifications, and my night vision camera was already night vision.
What about you, Kelly?
Mine was the spirit board, also known as the Ouija board.
Yeah.
And again, you know, you get on there and you question these tools, don't you?
Definitely.
And yeah, I didn't trust it straight away. You assume somebody's pushing it, don't you? But after that, it was definitely the K2, and again, you question that, don't you?
Unfortunately, there's a positive and negative between any piece of equipment. You don't really know 100% if it works or not. Everything can be adjusted by the environment around it. One of the basic things is, if you go on a public investigation, how many people take their mobiles and they say, I'm filming, and they'll keep their torch on where they're filming. That lamp gets extremely hot, and it starts attracting like a magnet. Here comes the dust. Here comes the orbs.
I will say one thing about you mentioning cell phones. It's very good. When you're on an investigation, always put your cell phone on airplane mode.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
It does interact. It's like, as you know yourself, with K2 meters, with radios. It does everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, from my point of view, I'm going to go even more old-fashioned than that. I actually went on my first investigation with a piece of paper, a pencil, and a watch. Because basically, any sound or any movement, I logged it at whatever time and where it was. I know it sounds as basic as what it is, but that's how I did my first one, because I went as a member of the public.
But yeah, honestly, I really like that. It's like she said, there's too much technology. There's too much technology. People are using all kinds of things that honestly don't make any sense. I think we need to take it back to the basics, like the millimeter. I don't know if you guys have experience with the millimeter. I personally, I love the millimeter. In fact, I've used other equipment, and honestly, the millimeter is the only thing I will take. I will not use anything else.
I'm shocked by that.
Well, I mean, I have the more advanced millimeter that does 7 things in one, but I mean, I've used the spirit box. Well, I'm not a fan of it anymore. No.
Well, back in the UK, so I remember someone actually did Frank's box. They were going and just going through bet, but not all the way through. And all of a sudden, it's just like, oh, I think we've got contact. No, I'm actually listening to Steve Wright in the morning.
Yeah.
So basically, I can't trust it. Some work, some don't. You don't know if they really are. I question everything.
The thing with the spirit box is so many paranormal investigators use that, which that's completely fine, right? But there's no scientist in history that will ever acknowledge that as any advancement in paranormal investigation, because you don't know if it's radio, truly, because you can never prove if it's radio or if it's actually spirits. So they will never accept it as paranormal, a true form of helping. Yeah,
definitely.
You got what I'm saying.
We'll jog on from that one. I think we've spoken enough about it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the spiritual side of things. It's like, right. Poltergeist. A lot of people have different ideas on how that sort of comes around. From my belief, I've heard it's more like the aggressive, the most extreme that you can get. But initially, why do you think they are like that? Why are they so different? What could be creating this? There must be like so many different factors. Kelly, do you want to answer that one first?
Yeah.
Well, I'd say it's like, somebody living, why would they change their personality just because they've died? So if they've been an angry person while they've been living, they've been violent, why would they change simply because they've died? Then I don't believe they're going to change. And so that energy is still going to be with them.
So basically then, Poundland needs to be Dollarland of America needs to be very, very worried then if I pass away, because I'll be haunting the Isles. Being a tight Yorkshire lad, I do like keeping money in my pocket, so I'll be still going down there going, oh, bleach for $1. What about you, Morton, on that? I know it's just a bit of a strange one, because from like the technical side of things, you're always there trying to capture it, but sometimes it always happens behind your back.
Well, honestly, you talked about paranormal unity, but one thing I have noticed in the paranormal community is that most or a lot of poltergeist activity is actually faked.
Yeah.
But I completely agree with her. If a person did pass away and they were a horrible person or a pissed off person, sorry.
Yeah. I'll let you get away with that one, but I'll give you a yellow card for that.
If they were an angry person,
yeah,
then they're going to be the same in death. So, but most of the times, I think 99% of the time, it's actually fake.
Yeah. It's like, unfortunately, it's like books, stories, superstitions, chats in between people, Facebook, Twitter. I think we increase it even more. But
Oh yeah.
there is something out there, but we just got. It's hard to separate the real from the fake.
Yes, yeah.
I was talking on Twitter the other day, and we're actually having pretty much this discussion actually, and it was about demon possessions and mental illness. And I said, well, why do so many people say it's demon possession and not mental illness? And someone wrote, because demon possession sells, mental illness doesn't.
Yeah.
So it's all about publicity.
Yeah.
That one is quite interesting. Kelly, have you got any questions you'd like to ask Martin? Right, so we've got, because it's good to sort of get a different perspective from across the channel, because we think of it one way and they think of it a different way.
Yeah, that's very true. I did have a couple of questions lined up. What is the best tool that you have used or encountered that has shown results for yourself?
Can you say that one more time? My mic's really...
Sorry, what is the best tool you have used or you've encountered that has produced the best evidence?
Awesome. Well, like I said, the millimeter is a brilliant piece of technology, but honestly, I say the camcorder, because I honestly am not a big fan of technology. All this stuff that's coming out, honestly, I just think a lot of it's a bunch of bollocks. And I love my millimeter and my camcorders. That's it. That's the thing that gets the best. The camcorders and the millimeter.
Brilliant. And then maybe one just to lighten the mood a little bit.
What are you buying the next round?
No, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
A question that gets asked at dinner parties: what famous person would you bring back from the dead?
I thought you were going to say who's going to pay the bill.
That's a very interesting question. I get asked that honestly a lot, and it's actually a person you guys will not know who it is, and that is G.G. Allen.
Okay.
And I'm sure none of your viewers are going to know who that is. G.G. Allen was the most hardcore punk rocker of all time. He's been voted the second most hardcore group of all time. He was a very violent, angry man, and I'm a fan of his music.
Fantastic.
If
you don't know who that is, there's always the Google button.
No, don't Google G.G. Allen. No. Unless you're 21 and over, that's the only way.
Anyway, is there anything else from you, Kelly, or is that it?
No, that's it.
Okay, right. Okay, Martin. Here's your chance to sell yourself. So, how can people actually find out about you?
Well, we're on literally every social media network you can imagine. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, like everything you can think of, and it's all under DDF Ghost Hunting.
And in abbreviation, I'm not saying that for quality reasons. Once you read up on it, you'll understand why. Also, he has multiple YouTube videos which answers different questions. And basically, you also show how you alter certain equipment. And also, you join him on certain investigations as well, alongside with one of your teammates.
Yeah, on the YouTube, we do everything from modifications to how-to where the fans ask us questions, where we do investigations, we do literally money saving. We do money saving videos, literally everything you can think of paranormal wise.
I was going to say, rather than taking all the limelight, would you like to say hello to your partner? Your partner in crime.
Hicks, I wish you were here, man.
No, we didn't. Okay, yeah, so what we'll do is I'll get some information, we'll link it into this video, so if you wish to follow DDF on future events, and you may even bump into him while he's over there. He might even cross the channel himself one day. But what we'll do is we'll go back to the main chat in the studio, and we'll catch you all in a few minutes. Right, we're back in England. Kelly's joined me still. Max unfortunately had to go. But Kelly, how interesting was that? It's so different. It's like the fact is that it's like with us working in England, we have our set ways on doing stuff, but just being across the water, it's like a whole different rule book. What were your feelings against it or achieving?
I think like this guy I could have sat down with and spoken to for a lot longer. There's a lot more I think that we could have got out of him. And
is Phil a number by any chance?
Yeah, he's a really interesting guy, and I caught a clip the other day of him filming, and he was filming on his own, but also doing an investigation on his own. Now, you know, when I've done an investigation, I would not have wanted to be on my own in a dark area at all. So he's quite brave, and he's got that going for him. But I think what an interesting group he could have over there. He was telling us what he enjoyed, you know, the equipment he used, and yeah, basic stuff. Once again, basic.
I was going to say, because also to save on money as well, he actually altered a lot of the equipment himself.
Impressive, yeah, that's it.
I won't even know where to even start. If I take it apart and it's still there in 10 weeks' time in 30 odd pieces. But to change all the filters and all the data streaming and stuff. But no, good on him. It's just like, it was really, really nice speaking to him. And to be speaking to like ourselves who've never met him, and it was just nice to sort of get down to earth, just be relaxed and have a good old chat. He's also set a question for the next episode. Hopefully we'll get something out of this and maybe get a couple more people lined up. Is there anything else you'd like to add to this?
I think people should just keep a lookout, keep watching, and get on board. I think this is absolutely fantastic. It'd be nice to hear other people's views, their experiences, how they started.
I'm going to say, because it's like the whole idea is I'm wanting to bring people together. It's like the whole idea is I hate all this whittering about each other saying this. They're all open to their own answers, and that's the way it's going to stand. It's just like everyone can take an opinion. It's like, I like them, I don't like them. Well, that's the way it is, but it doesn't have to go to the levels where we're shutting down other groups. So yeah, the invite is out to all of you across the world. Get in contact. The email will be below on the screen, but it's nmtp2013@gmail.com. Post any comments, and also this will be attached to the YouTube channel as well. I'll be incorporating people's Twitter accounts if you want to ask them questions. And I think we're done.
Yeah.
So that's us in Great Britain, Coventry, and other locations. And we hope to hear from you all, and we'll see you all soon. We'll see you later.